Welcome to A Simple Life. Today we are going to do something really fun, something I've talked about over and over again, and we're finally going to do at least some of it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the quad, we're going to go down to my neighbors, Scott and Jerry, two brothers. They have properties next to each other. We're going to borrow their seed spreader, and we're going to come back and we're going to mix up some cover crop. Let's go pick up that spreader and we'll see what we need to do to it. It probably needs some greasing. Are you guys done with all your chores?
Yeah.
Okay, the boys are gonna help me. All right, we'll see you guys down the road picking up the spreader. So we were just gonna go get that spreader. And Clint goes, you gotta see what happened. We got something we have to show you. Well, see what happened doesn't always mean it's a good thing. Remember, I have two boys and they're farm boys. They can be quite active. This was a really sweet thing and a really good thing. And I'm really surprised and I'm really happy. Here's what they did. We just had a bunch of wood chips and stuff delivered, and they brought them in and they went and put them all down underneath where this Polaris sits and where we have our pig feed, with the idea that would help distribute the mud, because there's always a little bit of mud here that gets torn up pretty good. Thank you very much, and I'm gonna have to tell Clay thank you too when I see him. I think he just went into a chess match, if I'm not mistaken, because that's usually where he goes when he has a couple free minutes, is he goes and plays a game of chess. And I can't really blame him. He's really good at it, isn't he?
Yeah, he got first place in a tournament a week ago.
Yeah. We got it hooked up. Now, we need to get back to our place. It has one flat tire, which is fine. We have a compressor and everything back at our place. We'll just take it easy on the way home. And it'll be good. This is what we got. So we got a nice mix of some different oats, some barley, some wheat, some winter pea, everything here, oh, and some ryegrass. Everything here will do fine planted right now. So, or I should say broadcasted right now. We could probably put another 100 pounds in here. I'm not gonna do it right now. We're gonna do a test run just before we fill this completely up and then find out that this doesn't work at all. We already put a lot in here. So the area that we're gonna do is from right here in this pasture, along here and through this area over here. That area over there had really sparse grasses. Every year it has really sparse, not very good variety. The area that we just came through has a really aggressive canary reed grass with some other fescues, and then also some swamp grasses. Now the swamp grasses, we're slowly pressuring them out by having cattle and stuff in here, but that's just slowly over time we've been doing that, and this area has actually shrunk the amount of swamp grass we have here just by putting cows and pigs and goats in here. But over here you can kind of see there's a gray area. It's just kind of weedy. It's never had a really good variety or a very good mix of stuff. So we're going to come in and we're going to put some cover crop in there. Now we're going to broadcast it, and when we were on our way out we realized that this one rim is having an issue. It's it looks like it's bulging out, so we may only get one pass before I need to go and pick up another rim. It took a little bit of farmer's engineering, and what do I mean by that? Well, I kind of had to figure out what this old rust bucket did. Once I figured it out, it worked pretty good. And I'll show you kind of what I had to do. Is I had to figure out what these mechanisms, kind of how they worked, considering they were old and rusty and weren't working properly. I figured out so we got the right seed rate that I was happy with, and so now we're good. And then the other thing I had to figure it out is this bolt back here, or this bracket, whatever it was hooked to in the past, it broke off, and it's almost the right height to catch these. And a couple of them are a little taller, and so I think one of them it kept catching. It's this one right here, it kept catching it. And so So this one kept catching, so I ended up tying this up, and that helped, and it just kept it up a little higher. And the crazy part was, we got this whole area done with one of these. That was the highest feed rate that it had, and we got this whole pasture right here. This whole section of this pasture is probably about 2 acres or so. We got it down. Now, we're not looking for like pure coverage. I'm just looking to introduce some new variety for grazing for my animals. And that's basically it. Now, I did leave out 2 things that I did not put in here. I left out the kale and I left out the orach. The reason why is the kale seed is very, very, very tiny, and I was afraid that we just weren't gonna get what we wanted when it came to coverage. I think we're gonna come out and we're gonna sow that by hand. But we're gonna go back, we're gonna fill this up. I think we can do probably 3 more passes with this, with what we have, maybe 4. All right, so, a second ago, I said we're gonna do a few more passes. Well, I was completely wrong, because it turns out that this tire has given up the ghost. This rim is just it's no worky anymore. Colette used to say that when she was a baby. So we're going to take this back. We can limp it back to the shop. We're gonna have to take a look at it, but that rim's completely done. It's rusted and fallen apart. So we're gonna have to see what we can do about getting another rim on there. Even though the cedar is broken, we are going to come out, and I have a 5-gallon bucket here, and there's this area right here that is pretty torn up. And it's just torn up because we always have water here, and the cows like to congregate at the water, as well as it's shaded because of this tree. So we're gonna come in, and I have a 5-gallon bucket of seed. I'm gonna seed this, and then we're gonna make a quick stroll around the field and see if there's anywhere else where there's been a little extra pressure. And if there has been, we're gonna seed that as well. I got most of it done. I ended up going all the way down the fence line right there. There's a little section here I missed, so let's get this done. And I'm just trying to get a decently even distribution of this this ryegrass. That's what this is. All right, let's take a quick spin around the field and see what it looks like. These fields are so beautiful. I'm really grateful to be able to lease these from Dave. They're not huge. It's 4.5 acres or so, 4 acres, somewhere in there, right around 4 acres. And but he's done a really great job maintaining them over the years and making sure the blackberries didn't crop up and start taking over. This area looks a little, let's put some seed down in this area. It's not bad, but it's just a little sparse. I remember this from this summer. This area was always a little on the sparse side. And actually, this area over here is the same way. Right through here has always been a little sparse. So I don't have much seed left. I'm pretty much out. But I think what I'm gonna do is once I get that cedar fixed, I think I'm gonna come through and I think I'm gonna make a pass in this area right here from about where that post is coming this way. This has always been a little bit of a desert when it comes to grass. We end up with some weeds and some ground cover, but not any real good grasses. So I think I'm gonna come through here and maybe put my cover crop mix in here, the oats and wheat and barley and ryegrass, maybe some field pea. So I've talked to the owner about doing this, but I think I'm gonna do that one area right there. I'm not gonna do the whole field for the most part because these fields are really healthy. All right, we are gonna go down to the pig pasture now and we're gonna put some orach down. So I decided not to just bring orach with me. I also brought 2 5-gallon buckets of ryegrass and a bucket of wheat. And the reason for bringing those extra seed varieties is because I remember when I was out here the other day, there was one pasture, it was a pasture from last week, and it really got torn up. And the reason it got really torn up was because it rained a lot the previous week, and then the pigs got in there and did a number on it. And so I'll show you what it looks like. There's actually 2 of them that happened to. Here you go, there's these last 2. and they just got really kind of torn up. So we're gonna get some more seed variety in here now while it's still, we still have some warm weather. But I want to show you what the orach looks like, and I'm gonna start getting some of that out. So let's take a look at this. That's the orach seed. So you can see it's really, I mean, it's big and fluffy, and you can understand why I didn't really want to put it through that seeder. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna broadcast it. I'm gonna try to get pretty even coverage across the whole field. I don't need to go super thick with it. Hey, Willie! So we're gonna get this spread out, and Willie's probably gonna follow me around and try to figure out if I have food, which I do not. But he's not gonna be happy with that. It's okay. I talk a lot about how the pastures, the pig pastures, recover. And they recover in a splendid and amazing way. And you're like, there is no way those pigs have destroyed that pasture. There's no way it's gonna recover. I wanna show you what the seed bank has when you allow animals to dung and turn it over and work it naturally. And don't let them turn it into concrete, but keep moving them. Look at this. Look at all this young grass. All already starting to pop up. This area was completely decimated this summer. I mean, the pigs had stomped the daylights out of this, but we didn't let them turn it to concrete. We just let them make a mess of it, and then they moved on. This whole area, I mean, yeah, there's some thistle and stuff in here. That's to be expected. I mean, we're not spraying or anything, so you're gonna have some varieties that you don't want, but by having a lot of good nutrients for the varieties that you do want, for the most part, those are gonna get choked out. So let's go get the rest of that wheat and ryegrass, and we'll fix those areas over there and just give them a little boost. Once again, they have a seed bank there, but hey, I like some of this variety of these different types of grasses in these areas. So we're gonna introduce them. I spilt a little extra over there, and Willie is eating it. Funny part about that is most likely it'll be pooped out tomorrow and be perfectly surrounded by fertilizer and will take off splendidly. That's my guess, because it's completely unsoaked. So he's not gonna be able to digest it, and he's just gonna poop it right back out, unless he's actually able to chew it, which then he's gonna crush a few of them. But I find generally pigs just suck it down. And so he's over there nibbling on some, and it's not much. It's probably a handful or two, but it got kind of dumped out of the bucket, and I was like, he'll nibble on that. He's not gonna go around and vacuum this up, and I'll show you about the density that I spread. This is kind of what I was looking for. So we have our rye, our wheat, and the round one is the orach. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. A pretty decent mix between all three of them. I'm not looking to have a stand of wheat or a stand of orach or a stand of field peas or any of these other things. I'm just looking for variety. I'm trying to mix up my fields the best I can, because diversity in your field is really important. You know, your animals don't want to just eat grass. Cows don't want to just eat grass. I mean, we put them on just pure grass and we think that's exactly what they need. But in all reality, they do like diversity in their browse. And I see that when I put my cows in an area that have like a canary reed grass. They go for that a lot of times right away because it's really sweet, especially if it's like sub 30 inches tall. The other thing they really like is hairy vetch. While that is not something you want them to eat a ton of because it can cause issues, them eating a good amount of it is not going to, like them eating what's in a field just naturally, that's not going to hurt them. Same thing with the pigs. I like a variety. They don't eat as much of the grasses, but for example, the orach, if I can get the orach to go, they will destroy that because that's like spinach. They will love that, absolutely. So that's just kind of what I'm doing. I've talked about in the past. Today I actually got out and we got some seeds down. We're gonna go up to Herman's now and we're gonna do some firewood. I'm not gonna show you us doing firewood, but I will show you Herman's firewood because I've talked about it, I've shown it, and the boys are so stinking proud of all the hard work they did for it. And so I'll give them a kudos because they worked their little tushes off for it. So we were up at Herman's and the boys have been up here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. They let the goats out to graze. Then they started working on the go-kart, or Clint has been calling it the goat cart. We have no idea why, but it's okay. And what did you manage to do?
Get the gas tank off.
Okay, the gas tank's out. And what did you find out when you got the gas tank out?
That
it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't even connected.
It wasn't even connected. So that was definitely a problem when it comes to getting gas to the motor. So that might have been one of our problems. He also took the cover off of the motor. And so that is going to allow him to get access to make sure that we have a good spark or a good spark plug. So he can take that out and see about that. We know we don't have a starter issue because, well, it's been starting just fine. Now he's going to be able to get the gas tank properly hooked up and set up so that way he can actually get some fuel to the motor. All right, let's go take a look at the firewood because we finished all of Herman's firewood yesterday. Here's the firewood. The boys did a phenomenal job stacking it, and we got a good amount of firewood in here. It's thrown all the way to the back. I don't know, it's got to be 4, maybe 5 cords, probably about 5 cords of wood in here, maybe a little bit more than that. It's a good chunk of firewood, and this isn't all they got done. So there's a nice big pile right here of wood for his cabin, and so he'll be happy. He also has some stuff that he's been cutting up for starting fires, some, we'll call it kindling. All right, let's get up and we're gonna check on the goats before it's too late because, well, Clay's up there right now with them. And so we're gonna go make sure Clay's okay. And then we're probably gonna buck a little firewood before it gets too late. We found our goats. Well, they weren't lost. They were right down the fence line, just grazing, waiting for us. They weren't where I thought they were gonna be. They were just a little bit farther to the side. But there they go. They're all going back in, like they do every evening. So we are having a problem with Reba, okay? She has gotten into her puppy stage, her I want to play with the goat stage. We've never had this problem with her up until right now, which I'm not surprised, I'm not shocked. It's not her fault, it's being a puppy. And so the good part is we are about to separate the herd out. Part of the herd is going to be going to another property. And so when we do that, I may leave a few of the bucks up here with her and take Merle and the rest of the herd and take them to the other property. One reason is they'll give a little bit of space for the moms and everybody away from the bucks who are always kind of, well, you know, trying to breed them. And it will also give her something to do. She'll still be guarding part of the herd, and it'll give Merle the other part of the herd to guard. Which will be perfectly fine. Everybody will be fine like that. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think it's the best thing I can do is to separate Merle and Reba, so that way neither of them want to play with the goat. And I don't think Merle's trying to play with the goats as much as Reba is. And then Merle may jump in on the action.